Scorpions. So I'm going to show you two variations of scorpions. One much less intense than the other, but both are going to give you a nice rotational stretch. So the easy version is we're going to adopt this kind of crucifix position on the floor, and then all I'm going to look to do is take one leg over to the other side. And we can kind of play around with where the foot is aiming, whether it's aiming up towards the hand or not quite as far over. But you want to be getting this nice stretch. So you'll feel a nice stretch across the lower back, maybe across the front, the top hip flexor, top quad maybe. You might even get a stretch across this pec, and then we'd go the other side. So play around, so you see how I came up onto this arm here to kind of support me and get more of a pec stretch there, because I'm turning away from this grounded arm a bit more. But if I send that arm out, it kind of adjusts how much I can get this foot over. So I get less pec stretch in the left arm, but way more stretching in the lower body and the hip. So again, just try and play around. So this is more pec. Oh, this is more hip and lower back. Because I'm trying to keep more of my upper body square with the floor. So the movement's having to come from the kind of spine and the lower back. Whereas if I come up here, the movement's coming more from in my pec here. So that would be the first variation. Have a play around with those. You can do it for reps, where we're just kind of flying from side to side, just to loosen up the back. Or we can do it like I was just doing there, where we hold it and kind of just let that position fester a bit more. The second variation of the scorpions is a yoga move. I have no idea what it's called in yoga, but anyone that's done a yoga class, you've probably done this movement at some point. So it's going to come out of a down dog position. So down dog being this position. So we've got hands at shoulder width apart, feet hip width apart. I'm trying to keep my back as flat as I can so that I'm not just hunching over. So I'm sending my butt high, bending my knees as much as I need to, and it's okay to have my heels off the floor. From there, I'm just going to look to lift the leg in the air, and then as I lift it, I'm sending it over to the opposite side. So I could, some of the yoga movements will continue that over, but we're just going to lift it and hold it up in the air. How I like to come up on the fingertips of the same side leg, so the top leg, this one that's in the air is my right leg. So I'll come up on the fingertips of the right hand as I'm sending as much of that over to the left. Something to watch out for is what the standing leg is doing. Because you're sending all this weight over, it's quite easy for the foot to turn and the knee to turn. So you're not really getting the rotation in the stretch, because all you're doing is, as you've thrown that leg over, you've just rotated all of your body off to a different angle. So it's key that you try and keep the standing leg still true to 12 o'clock, so that the rotation is then coming from the body and the hip. So if you see, if I try and show it you from this angle, so I'll take this leg up, and then I would come up on the fingertips and send this leg over. And see, I'm opening up through my hip and trying to show you this foot. I'm avoiding that turn that wants to happen. So it's easier when you're looking at it, but obviously when I'm looking at it you can't see it. But I'm just checking that standing leg and the knee are always 12, and then I would do it the same side. So send the left up and over, check the standing leg, come up on the fingertips, kind of accentuates the left side of the body. If I down here, it kind of closes off that stretch. Whereas if I come up here, it means I can get a bit more rotation through my spine. And that would be, as you can see, I'm a little bit more out of breath doing that one than the other one, the more intense version of the scorpions. So that one would be for time, as opposed for reps. You wouldn't just keep switching left and right. You would get up into one side, hold for the duration of your stretch, maybe come off your hands and have a little breather before getting back up and switching over to the other side. So there's scorpions.